Welcome back to Nancy Drew Mobile Mysteries Shadow Ranch. Our clumsy friend Bess has just found herself in a hole.
Nancy!
Yes, she has fallen into a hole and now we have to save her. I don't know why we brought the clumsy girl along. Well, Bess is fun, but still, take it easy, Bess, Nancy says in a reassuring voice. We'll get you out. George looks at Nancy with wide eyes and whispers, How? We didn't bring a rope. Hey, don't blame me, Nancy says. She's your cousin. Nancy calls down to her friend. Hang on, Bess, I'll be right back. She turns to George. Come on. They jog down to the campsite. Nancy shoves some food, matches, extra clothes, and a flashlight into a bag, while George saddles her horse. Returning to the hole, Nancy sits down at the edge of the hole and calls to Bess. George has gone for help. Okay, so Nancy's going to help Bess while George gets some people with a rope. That'll take hours, Bess cries, near tears. I'm scared, Nancy. I know, that's why I'm coming down there with you. Watch out! Clutching the bag of supplies to her chest, Nancy pushes off and drops into the hole, landing in a heap next to Bess. Oh, Nancy, you're the best friend ever! Bess exclaims as she helps Nancy to her feet. Are you all right? I'm fine. Nancy dusts herself off, then pulls out her flashlight and flicks it on. The hole's actually a narrow tunnel supported by old wooden beams. In one direction, the tunnel tapers into darkness. In the other, it splits into two tunnels. This tunnel was obviously man-made, Nancy says, heading for the two tunnels. We must have fallen down some kind of air vent. She aims her flashlight at the wall beside the tunnels and catches her breath. Bess, look! Etched into the wall is a familiar half circle. The rainbow! We found the lost mine! No, Nancy counters thoughtfully. All we found are two tunnels, one of which probably goes to the lost mine, the other of which has been booby-trapped to keep out trespassers. Bess's shoulders sag. Oh. Shining her light on the ceiling, Nancy notes that there are numbers. 8 and 10. Bess notes that we have equations. R equals 1, W equals 7, R plus N plus B equals... I'm pretty sure the solution will tell us whether to take the tunnel labeled 8 or the one labeled 10, Nancy concludes. He left a clue? Why would he do that? Because as bound as determined as he was to keep people like us out, Crazy Cal didn't quite trust his own memory. So he concocted those equations to remind himself which tunnel to take, Bess says, catching on. Nancy nods, and odds are the solution involves the name of his favorite pack burrow. Yes, this is clearly a puzzle. So R equals 1 and W equals 7. Now you'll notice that there are 7 letters in the word rainbow. R is the first one and W is the 7th one. So really, the letters stand for numbers, which are their places in the word rainbow. So, R is 1, N is 4, and B is 5, so that's 1 plus 4 plus 5, which equals 10. They entered the tunnel in a crouch, avoiding the rickety-looking support beams. The tunnel widens a bit, and Nancy's flashlight picks out 3 openings. We have N, I, and A. So W minus 3 is... W is 7, 7 minus 3 is 4, and the 4th letter in the word rainbow is N, so we go to N. Once again, they crouch their way through the tunnel. Like the first 2, it diverges. This time they have to pick 4 tunnels. Bess moans. I'm beginning to think Crazy Cal never found gold at all. I think he just liked to dig tunnels. Examining the ceiling, Nancy notes that a colored rock has been embedded above each tunnel. This time he used colors, orange, red, blue, and green. First numbers, then letters, now colors. Okay, so R equals 1, W equals V equals 7, 5 equals what? I bet Smarty Boots George would know what those equations mean. Yes, says Nancy, getting an idea as she studies the equations. I bet she would, but if she can understand that, so can we. So this is a little tricky. There are 5 letters in the word rainbow. There are also 7 letters in the word rainbow and also 7 colors in the rainbow. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and sometimes indigo, and violet. So R equals R, R for red, which is the first color in the rainbow, and violet is the seventh color in the rainbow, right? Okay, so what is the fifth color in the rainbow? So that'd be number 5. Fifth color in the rainbow, red, orange, yellow, green, blue. Blue. Okay, so we are going for blue right over here. My back is killing me, Bess groans as she crouches through the tunnel behind Nancy. I swear, if this tunnel ends in more tunnels, I'm gonna sit right down and cry like a baby. But suddenly, Nancy stands up. Bess rises beside her and gasps at what she sees in the beam of the flashlight. A golden streak at least a foot high slants across the dark rock that comprises the far wall. Is that gold? Bess asks, slack-jawed. It's a gold vein, Nancy answers. Much better than a gold artery. A huge one! There could be tons of gold behind it. As Nancy shines her flashlight around the cave, Bess screams. On the ground in front of her, half buried in the spill of stony rubble, is a human skeleton. A pickaxe still clutched in its bony hand. Its jaw gapes open. A thin shirt hangs in strips through the bones of the ribcage. And that must be Crazy Cal, Nancy whispers. What do you think happened to him? Look. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. I'm hearing something. Do you guys hear anything? Okay, I'll pretend it's nothing. Maybe that was just a bird outside. Anyway, Crazy Cal, everybody. He died in a cave-in. Poor Crazy Cal. What do you think happened to him? Looks like he was working his mine when part of the wall caved in on him, Nancy says. Okay, so this is a very dangerous mine. You know, we could have cave-ins which kill people. Fortunately, we brought the responsible cousin and not the clumsy cousin, so we should be safe here. Bess steps forward and peers at the skeleton. And he was just stuck here with no one to save him, all by himself in the dark. How incredibly sad. Nancy's eyes widen with alarm when she sees that Bess is leaning against the wall above the skeleton. Oh, I'm just gonna take a nap here, rest against the wall, which is unstable. Bess, no! Don't touch anything! As Bess looks up, startled, the rock beneath her hand suddenly breaks off. Within seconds, the whole wall starts falling away. Good job, Bess. Good job. Nancy grabs Bess and shoves her toward the tunnel. It's a cave-in! We've got to get out of here! The ground shakes as Bess and Nancy scurry through one tunnel after another. From behind them comes a succession of dull crashes, each one louder than the last. The tunnels are collapsing! Nancy yells. Go faster! Faster! Finally, a shaft of sunlight tells them they're approaching the hole where they entered. As they race toward it, a rope ladder drops from above, and Dave descends into view. Doo-doo-doo! By the time they reach him, Nancy has to yell to be heard over the roar behind him. Get us up! Quick! Dave swings Bess onto the ladder, then hauls Nancy up before heading back up himself. Alright, we got out of the collapsing mine A-OK. Squinting in the brilliant sunshine, first Bess, then Nancy, and finally Dave emerge from the hole. George and Gil help them from the ladder, hastily knotted together from 2 lariats. Gil frowns. What the heck's going on down there? But before either girl can answer, the earth around the hole gives way. With a cry of surprise, Dave starts sliding down into the opening! Nancy grabs his arm and, with Gil's help, drags him to safety. The rumbling slows to a stop, and, as the dust slowly settles, the group realizes that the hole itself has vanished. All that remains is a slight depression in the rocky ground. Guess what, everybody? Bess announces excitedly. Nancy and I, well, mostly Nancy, we found Crazy Cal's lost mine! The 2 cowboys react with surprise. Well, if that don't beat all, Gil drawls. The problem is, she adds weakly, because of Nancy and I, mostly Nancy, it got lost again. Probably permanently. The cowboys' surprise turns to disappointment. But you know what? I kind of think that's a good thing, she continues. I mean, striking it rich sure didn't make Crazy Cal very happy. The truth is, it made him pathetic. Alright, good save, Bess. Trying to divert attention from the fact that you just lost $1 million worth of gold just because you rested on the wrong rock. George smiles. I'm just glad you guys are okay. I'm just glad you got back here so fast, Nancy counters. You can thank old Dave here for that, Gil says, clapping a hand on Dave's shoulder. Insisted we check the Stony Peak fence line today. Wouldn't take no for an answer. Noting the brief glance Dave casts in Nancy's direction, Bess smiles impishly. Is that right? Dave shuffles uncomfortably under her knowing gaze. Just one of them lucky coincidences, I guess, he says, struggling to sound convincing. Well, I'm very grateful, Nancy tells him gently. Then she turns to Bess. I'm also kind of hungry. Her words have their intended effect on Bess, who immediately forgets about teasing Dave and looks at her watch. Oh my gosh, we missed breakfast! No wonder I'm starving! If we hustle, maybe we can talk Mrs. Thurman into making us some brunch, Nancy suggests. Great idea! Bess starts sprinting down the trail towards the horses. Last one to the ranch is a huevo ranchero! Alright, so what have we learned about Bess in this video? Number one, she's not very smart, so she gets herself into dangerous situations like falling down a hole. Number two, she's definitely not smart enough to solve puzzles leading to lost mines. Number three, she's so clumsy that she destroys the $1 million treasure. And number four, she loves eating food and just mentioned food and she's all, whoa, instant distraction. You know, I have to say, this video is sort of making Bess look like a really horrible sidekick for Nancy. I like Bess, I do, but she's been really useless in this video. Not just useless, she's been very detrimental to Nancy's entire investigation. Poor Bess. Maybe she'll redeem herself in one of the upcoming chapters.